My mother demanded to stay in my fiancé and I's wedding suite. I told her that was ridiculous. Get out! This is an LGBT couple. My 35 male, female bride and I, 41 female, planned an elopement in Vegas initially, but of course, everyone wanted to come. So we paid to have a micro wedding under 10 people for our most special guests to come. Everyone is responsible for their own rooms, arrangements, flights, etc. We posted on our website, which no one has read. By the way, this comes from Anonymous Brides, and if you want to send in your story, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So we planned a week out in Vegas, the first few days being just for me and my future wife. However, my dear daughter doesn't want to fly out to Vegas just for a wedding. Never been out of Vegas, so she wants to make a whole trip out of it. To me, this is not a family trip. Although my family will be there, it is a trip for me and my wife. It is our wedding after all. A few months ago, my mother suggested to stay with us in our hotel suite for the first few nights. All three of us. I shot that idea down pretty quick and hard and explained that there wouldn't be enough room. It's a wedding suite, so one king-size bed and one thin couch.
You can fit 3 people on a king size.
Oh my God.
I will say, you can.
Jeez. I was definitely surprised she had the wherewithal to even. Weather has been bad for my family and my bride's family in their respective cities. Last night, my mother called to tell me that she might not make it a few days before the wedding. She's thinking of canceling her hotel room for those 3 days because she doesn't want to lose her money. For me, that's not a huge loss. We wanted the time beforehand together anyways. I continued listening and waiting for her to ask if she can stay in our room. Let's do some dialogue.
Right.
I'll be mom. So if I cancel my hotel room, but I end up going out that day anyways, can I stay with you in your room?
Mom, there's only one bed and the couch is way too thin.
I'll sleep on the floor.
Mom, no, it's not appropriate to be in my wedding suite during the wedding week.
I don't understand. You guys live together. What's the difference?
It's not appropriate.
You have made it very clear that you don't want me there these days before the wedding. That part is kind of true. We wanted to be alone, but she wanted to come sooner.
Mom, you know, I've already bought the tickets to the events that include you, and we have brunch plans on this day as well. I'd rather you be safe, and if you fly out a couple of days later, then it's fine.
I'm worried that I'm gonna miss your wedding, and then you'll be mad that I missed your wedding. Because she told me 20 years ago that she wouldn't attend my wedding if I married a woman. Ooh, she's come a long way since then, and she loves my partner. I never thought my own mother would be so enmeshed with me that she would suggest to stay in the room with me. Why? I don't even understand why you would want to stay with your daughter and her new wife in her wedding suite. I can't believe that I had to tell the woman who raised me, the woman who taught me manners and respect. I can't believe I had to explain to her why she can't stay in the room with me and my partner. I feel so guilty. Probably because I've been told to feel guilty as a child, and I know I'm making the right decision. Never expected my own mother to be a monster-in-law. And there is an update. I feel my story has taken a sad turn. My relationship with my mother is worse than I thought. I will get to the story. Meow. We both arrived at the airport around the same time from our different flights, and my mom had a pain that affected her walking. Not great since we were going to be walking around Vegas.
Okay, wheelchair, and she's faking it.
I offer Advil multiple times, and she rejects it. Oh, I believe she may have taken it one time from me. We arrived at her hotel first. I assume she never canceled her reservation, lol, because she had a reservation. Wow. We dropped our bags at her room and we got onto our plans. Later that night, my wife and I checked into our suite alone. The first night with my mom was the next day in my suite. She had interrupted me several times that day, one of our many problems, then pointed out how I interrupted her. At one point, I tried to once again begin my story and she interrupts me and I exasperate. Do you know how many times I've tried to tell the story today and you've interrupted me? Then I said, do you do this to everyone or just me? And then she put her middle finger in my face, screaming at me, F you, F you, F you, F you. Oh my God.
Also, why would you say that to your kid? Because you don't want that to be happening to your kid.
Dude, this mom is crazy. My wife had to intervene and say, whoa, that was not necessary. My wife later told me that she almost threw her out of our room. I stuck to my I statements. There we go. Therapy. And I said, when you cut me off, it makes me feel like what I'm saying isn't important. I should have addressed the F you news. But it was too heated at the time. I just remembered a very sad, tragic tale.
Oh, what is it?
I remember when a young Samuel Donner, he wanted to join the cool kids, but instead of labeling you as one of the cool kids,
They called me Salad Boy because I ate nothing but salads. Could not trade my lunch for a lunch. Really anything.
You know what community will always welcome you with open arms, Sam?
And make you feel like a cool kid?
The great people who have OK Storytime memberships.
Oh, I heard that 60 plus hours of members only content Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
You heard right, Sam, and it's only $5 a month.
So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join. Now back to the story.
Chomp, chomp. I tried to de-escalate and we'll address it another time. At this point, I'm realizing that my mother is immature, emotionally immature. Whatever feelings she's feeling when I confront her, genuinely, by the way, asking her if she truly does this to everyone or just me, she can't handle it and freaks out on me like a high schooler. It's sad. I'm devastated, actually. To have this insight on my wedding getaway caused me a lot of pain. I've looked for answers for a long time. I thought maybe she's narcissistic. My therapist mentioned possible borderline personality disorder, but I'm looking into emotional maturity at the moment. I've learned it can coincide with narcissism or BPD, so I can't necessarily write those off. Then the night after that, the rest of the party starts to arrive. My wife's best friend arrives very late and has a reservation at our hotel. She calls my wife to let her know her room isn't ready and they're looking for a room for her. My mother pipes in, she didn't call on the OP. She didn't call in advance to let them know. I realize very quickly that sounds like she's putting that responsibility on me, that the friend's problem is now suddenly my problem. Mom, I don't know if she called in advance. She's responsible for her own travel and her own hotel room, I say. She responds, well, you're going to let her stay in your hotel room if she doesn't get a room? I replied,
No, she's not staying in my room. There are plenty of hotel rooms in Vegas. She will get a room tonight. She's a big girl, Mom.
That's effed up. F you. No, she didn't say that. A good friend of mine also came on the trip with her new partner, stayed in a different hotel, not a problem. She didn't arrive to my hotel suite until we were about to be picked up in the limo. She gets along with my mom really well, and the minute we were in the limo, the two of them were attached at the hip, and I feel like I barely spoke to my friend. I have videos and pictures specifically of them ignoring everyone else in the limo and speaking only to each other. I took them because I felt like the party was kind of separated in the limo. The wedding went off without a hitch. We love to hear that. It was absolutely beautiful wedding, and I was so incredibly happy, crying tears of joy, I hope, and not tears of how much pain I was in from the emotional week I already had. The next morning, my friend once again ignored me to have breakfast with her partner. We discussed in advance the time everyone was getting together, and she scheduled her reservation for 30 minutes before. She sat at a different table and ate alone with her partner. We got a table next to her with 2 extra chairs, but she did not join us. She later asked my wife if I'm upset, and my wife responds, she thought she spent a little time with you on the trip. I try to let the feelings go. I'm just devastated by the people I'm allowing in my life at the moment. I am really considering evaluating these relationships. Later in my hotel room that night, I received a text from my good friend saying that she's taking off a little early from the trip, blames it on work. I don't really know why she even came. Just for the vacation, I guess. I barely said 2 words to her in the 5 hours I saw her. Sad, sad, sad. I am so sad about this, about all of this. If you go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or dare I say your favorite freaking podcast app, and you type in OK Storytime.
Ooh, what are they going to get, John?
Every single thing that is wrong in your life will instantly dissolve away. Other than the drama. I really enjoyed the trip. I had a lovely time with my wife and very happy. Our hair and makeup and our vendors and our ceremony, all that stuff. It was all so beautiful. And I'm thankful they came to see us get married. I definitely had some insecurities before going on this trip, and it's a reality I have issues with some people in my life. I am currently in therapy and had a discussion with my therapist about this. I'm certainly not going no contact or ghosting anyone after this. That's right, Riley. But discussions need to be had, and therapy needs to continue. Books need to be read and practice needs to be put in place. All I can do is commit myself to a healthy life in all ways and practice radical acceptance. If anyone has any advice on how to let go of the pain, accepting it, or trying to be less emotional about it, I am open, all ears. Thanks for listening. Relationships can be hard, especially with emotionally immature people. And that's the end of that story.
Wow.